think
in
the
here are going to be
I think
cool.
the thumbnail for the YouTube on this will be Chris parks and handicap spots. You know,
Oh, dude! All of a sudden, like, all you gonna be like, up and coming company attacks guy in wheelchair. You know
yeah,
what I mean? And it's like, boom! All of a sudden, we got thousands of views on the pod.
right,
Everyone's tuned in. Like, who's
dude.
this
That's a
JL?
Larry David thing to do. You know, like. Welcome to the Detail Solutions podcast. All right, this is the last time I'm going to ask this. Please, I need your help. We're coming down to the last week for the Golden Awards nomination. So please, I appreciate if everybody would go to mte.live/golden-mic-awards and nominate the Detail Solutions podcast. Just like every year, you do need to actually say why we should deserve, or I should deserve, this award. Hopefully, the fact that last year technically did win it and controversy kept me from bringing it home will play into, sympathy. So I'm not afraid to ask you guys to, be sympathetic about it. Yeah. So please do that, or you can just go to mte.live and click on awards and go to the Golden Mic and then do it that way if it's easier for you. I appreciate all the support. And yeah, hopefully by the next time there's a podcast after this one, because MTE comes out, or MTE is this week. So I'll do one after MTE, and hopefully there'll be a little Golden Mic right there. Finally, fourth time's charm, maybe. I mean, technically third time was the charm, but maybe fourth time we'll get to bring it home. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, and on to the show. Yeah, so what's been going on? MTE is coming up really quick. You guys are super busy preparing for that, right? So I know I've only got you till 9:00 if we go that long. So
Yeah, we gotta be like a 8:30, 9:00 stop point, most
yeah,
likely. I mean,
no,
we
it's
just
all
still
good.
have so much stuff to do, dude. It's
Yeah,
unreal. Like, it's the last minute heebie-jeebies is really what it comes
right.
down to,
Yeah,
Trainings, all that stuff,
yeah. So
Last year, me and Christian it was just us,
okay.
and now we got like a team. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
It's like, so it's almost like we got to make sure everybody's up to speed, because
Yeah.
really, we're the ones that are usually on the road going out to the places and stuff like that, where these guys are usually kind of home back in the scenes. You know what I mean? So
Right.
we kind of know what to expect. They think they know what to expect, but
Yeah.
we know what to expect.
We've been in the trenches before. They've just heard
Yeah.
about the battle.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So you guys, you said you're doing a booth, right?
Yeah, we got a booth this year.
Nice. And then are you guys doing anything else, or just the booth kind of thing?
So we have the booth during the show. Afterwards, there's a couple of different things that we may go to. It really all depends on kind of what the
Vibe is.
after
Yeah.
party vibe scene get together thing is. I mean, it really all depends on where people are going to be at. I mean, obviously we have our own customers that are out there that kind of already rock with us.
Yeah.
So like, it depends really. Like, if there's a new opportunity for us to go somewhere and obviously meet some people, we're going to probably try to go do that. I mean, we have a big enough squad down there. We could probably split up, and hit two different places at once or whatever to kind of multitask. Because
cool.
I mean, the big thing for us is, we want to meet as many people as we can.
Yeah.
We have branding on ourselves that's pretty big on our back most of the time, and right on our face or on our hats or whatever. So
right.
People come up to us and say, "What's up?" all the time. So
he's tall, I'm wide. So it's like, it's kind of hard to miss us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just,
No, it's all good stuff. Let's kind of jump into So for everybody's listening, it's Chris and Matt from BioBombs. So how did you guys get into making biobombs or doing biobombs? And for anybody who doesn't know what biobombs is, what's a biobomb?
Sure. So, BioBombs as a company, we create, we manufacture, distribute, and sell odor removal products and air fresheners.
Okay.
We got into that industry in particular because I myself was a mobile detailer, still am, for car dealerships. We offer specialty services for them, interior restoration stuff,
Right.
carpet dyeing, heel pads, burn holes, deodorization, and then the aftermarket plastic that you put down on the vehicles, make them look like they're new.
Yeah. Yeah.
With that being the case, over the years we experienced, obviously we offered odor removal services, and we've tried everything under the sun for years. Probably about 10, maybe 12 years ago, probably 12 years ago at this point. We started learning about this little thing called chlorine dioxide and kind of the magic behind kind of what it can do in regards to odor removal, among
Right.
many other things. With that being the case, we started purchasing a bunch of them because we had a couple crews running, a couple vans. We were running probably 50, 60 of these things a month. Well, that starts to add up eventually, month upon month upon month upon month. And, we started doing a little bit of research on our own and said, you know what, there's a real lane for this in the industry right now. Like, we need to bring something to market. And BioBombs pretty much was born.
Nice. Nice. So it's been a minute then, really. Like,
Yeah, we started back in 2017. So
gotcha.
Matt and I have been friends for, it's got to be close to 20 years now at this point, right, Matt?
I thought about that. I think it's closer to 15, but it's still a while. I
I'm
actually
gonna try.
tracked.
I'm gonna try
15,
my
15
hardest to
feels
get.
like 20.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, we're at the point in our lives now, right? Where you're like, oh, it was 5 years ago. Like,
Yeah,
nope,
yeah,
it was
yeah,
definitely a decade ago.
yeah.
Let's be really clear. At a
Yeah,
minimal, if you
it
say
was.
something's 5 years, it's a minimum 10.
I'm thinking like it's probably was. I could date this by jobs I had. So I want to say it was like 08
You're probably
or
right
07,
because my
right
brother
around
and
there.
I got our houses in like 07, 08,
Yeah,
and then you were
I met Christian because I hired his brother at AT&T. I was a sales manager,
Okay.
and I hired his brother.
true story.
And so I remember I met Christian. He was this big, tall, goofy looking dude wearing a Wendy's shirt that said "Biggie size me" or something like that.
No, it said
Or
Biggie Smalls is the illest, and
Biggie spot, yeah. And
it had a
it was yeah,
Notorious
it was yellow
B.I.G.
though,
on a
right?
Wendy's French fries. No, it wasn't yellow.
Was
It
it
was
red?
gray. It was gray, and I had a black one too.
Yeah. All right. So I remember
But
that
instead
being
of
on,
Wendy, right, in the center of like the
but the
Wendy's
box was
fries or
red though,
whatever,
right? On the
the
shirt.
box, yeah, it was the Wendy's fries
Okay.
package.
Okay.
And then instead of Wendy being in the center, it had a picture of Biggie Smalls from Ready to Die, the baby picture.
Hmm.
And then it said Biggie, like they do for their fries. And then
Yeah.
it said Smalls is the illest, like
Yeah.
on the actual fry package. Dude, it
I
was the
might.
dopest shirt
Yeah.
ever. People would come up to me all the time, like, yo, that's the illest shirt I ever seen. And that was before people were like pressing their own stuff.
I might have met him before that, but that's my first memory of it. It was at PJ Willahan's and
That was
like,
touching.
yeah, it was.
That
We
was touching, man. Thanks.
yeah, bald head, all that. No, I'm just saying.
That's still, that's nothing's changed
For me,
there. Still
I mean,
rocking
I
that,
still
dude.
had a little bit of hair, scorched earth going on there. I was holding on to it, but it was pretty
Nah,
much
man.
gone.
I'm still right out there with the
Yeah.
baldy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I met him there, and then we became friends. His brother worked for me for a while. I left AT&T, and I went to a car dealership called Conacelli, and lo and behold, Christian was one of the vendors there, right? Meaning like he was telling me about the what he does with the dealerships earlier on
Yeah.
in the show, and we are like, "Yo, what's up, dude? What's up?" And so we used to see each other every Wednesday because I was roughly every Wednesday because that was his day. He would come to my particular lot. And and then we became friends over the years. I still stayed friends with his brother even after I left. So we intermingle parties for all that stuff, invited people over and do those kinds of things. We live pretty close to each other, and but I did see I had a different point of view of biobombs because I really got to see it from its inception. And
He was the
it
sales guy that had the issue with the smelly car or something like
Right.
that, and I would
mhm.
be out at his lot, and he'd be like, "Yo, can you buy him this one for me?" Whatever. And obviously, with us being friends, he knew that I started something. I started getting a lot of local dealerships around the area outside of the
Mhm.
ones that we would service. I would go outside that area, and I would basically pitch the bio bombs as samples to everybody to try for free until, once they tried it, to let me know what they think. And if they liked them, they come on board for a certain price or whatever. So I would start flipping tablets and jars to all these dealerships. As it was getting bigger, Matt was like, yo, dude, like this thing's starting to get bigger. I'm like, bro, it's really starting to pick up. Like, if you're interested, like, why don't you come on board and kind of start doing your thing? So he started, dabbling with me, doing some of the sales or whatever. And then last year he's probably 6 months in, maybe 5 months in, prior to going to MTE last year. We decided to go down to MTE just to kind of wing it, right? Let's see what it's about before we decide to spend some money on a booth. Is the show worth it? We heard it from a couple people that are reputable in the industry that we grew and got relationships with over the past few years, like old man Tim, Hawaii Tim. I'm not sure if you know him. Detailed AF, Adrian was another person that was like, oh, dude, you got to get out there. So we wound up going out to the show. I met a whole bunch of cool people. Obviously, we were kind of repping the BioBombs gear, so we were starting to really catch some steam at that point. People started talking or whatnot, and we actually wound up making some really, really great connections that helped propel us the way the last year has kind of gone for the company for us.
Nice.
And then we look, a year later, we turn back and we're like, hey, we're going there. We got a booth that's going to probably be, I'm going to say it now, probably the best booth in the building. And, unfortunately, it's only a 10 by 10. I wish we could squeeze more room in because that thing's going to be jammed up.
Yeah, the funny thing is, so when Christian told me about BioBombs, though, when I was working at the dealership, to me, I didn't really think about anything because I'm like, all right, whatever. Like, I didn't think about what he was putting in there because we had a controller, at least in my situation, that used a Toyota Camry that was a relatively new used Camry, meaning it was certified. It was something we had at least 20 grand into it,
The
right?
gasoline car.
Yeah, and the dude came back, and it was our controller, and it's an old guy. Smelled like he took a push lawnmower, turned it upside down, and just poured it into the back of the trunk. I'm like, this thing's ruined. I'm like, of course, my GM's like, what the F? And, so he got Christian, and then I got him. And our lot guy, JJ, was like, yo, talk to Chris about, about his tablet, and I'm like, all right. And the funny thing is, I used to see cars out there with
the jar with the yellow.
not even a jar. It was a plastic cup. And I was like, why the fuck are people pissing in cups and leaving it in the car? And so I would take it out because I'm going to test drive with the customer. I'm like, what is this? Like, I didn't know what it was. I'm like, why? And then I would see, like, sometimes JJ would take the cup out and put it next to the car. I'm like, why are people pissing in cups, leaving it next to cars? And I didn't know till later on it was the tablet doing its thing. And that was the leftover. I was like, what? I'm like, dude, why are homeless people pissing in cups and leaving next to the car? Like, they have something against us.
That's way back. That was back when we were using I guess the couple different variations of the tablets as we were developing them before we got them actually into the jars and kind of to market. That's crazy.
Yeah, but it ate the gasoline smell. I was like blown away. I was like,
it's
because I'm used to being a used car salesman at the same place for 9 years. This is a very big dealership. I mean, they have Honda, Toyota, Nissan, Toyota, and 4 used car stores and a special finance store, or bad credit, whatever you call it. So we had, would it be safe to say they probably have about 70 detailers on staff total through the complex?
Oh,
roughly?
without a doubt. It's a huge establishment.
And they have all the resources possible to get whatever they want for detailed product or detailed tools. And the funny thing is, like, when I would ask them, because I didn't know anybody, I'd be like, yo, can we do the ozone machine on this? Because it stinks. I got to street this car.
Yeah.
And the head detail would be, I don't, he was wishy-washy about using the ozone machine. I didn't know why, but it seemed like they would rather scrub the car and take their chances and let it dry than even use the ozone machine, because he's like, it doesn't work half the time. This is what he said to me. And this is before I knew about the connection of this product versus.
Uh-oh.
We lost them.
You got to tune in next week.
I'm pretty sure I know what area is.
Yeah.
So
I didn't know the science, the connection and the science behind it, right? And then, I remember first time I went into a car, they're like, hey, Matt, get this car from the detail bay down the street, show it to a customer. It's a Saturday. I walk in there like they just pulled the ozone machine out. I walk in there, I'm like, what? I'm like, yo, I didn't know what it was. I was like, am I high right now? Like, what's going on? Like, it hit me. No one told me. No one warned me. I drove it down. I'm like, man, it's a weird smell in this car. Like, we're talking like a quarter of a mile drive from like one end to the other, and I'm just huffing brand new ozone like it's nothing. I'm like, oh, that's great. Yeah, and so I'm like, and the one dude's like, yeah, dude, you shouldn't have gotten that car. I'm like, well, how was I supposed to know? So anyway, long story short, that provided a solution where we could reasonably get it done in a reasonable amount of time because, you know, the head detailer would be like, yeah, you got to give me 24 hours for that ozone machine.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, the beauty of the whole used car market, and I'm sure obviously you guys understand this, and um, my buddy Bill, who kind of, I was already turned on the chlorine dioxide tablets, but Bill kind of like gave me the ins and outs of them because his family's in the medical waste business, so they use them for, like homes and all this other stuff, right? But he also on the side was doing some detailing, and he would have car lots, and he was telling me like it's the easiest money because all you have to do is go pop, you know and he was like, look, he goes, I don't fuck around. He goes, I go to a car lot, he goes, I'm popping 100-gram tablets in these cars because 100 grams is going to kill everything, any odor, any whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm popping them in there, closing the door, and go collect a check and leave. Like,
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Listen,
you don't have to sit
I mean,
around for long.
I'm very familiar with all the different variations that you can create and kind of get made with the tablets. I mean, the biggest thing for me, like when you talk about them big boy tablets, they should not be given to regular people to use.
Yeah.
They're very, very
Yeah.
dangerous if used improperly.
Right. Right.
So
And
it's
that's
something.
and that's where, yeah, I mean, he comes from
I
the
mean, dude, even
medical.
with something
Yeah.
like that, right? I tell guys all the time, and I don't mean to cut you off, but like
No, no,
if
you're all good.
you put a couple of our vehicle deodorization kits in a car and you put more, say put 4 of them inside of a vehicle, right? Because the vehicle is so bad. And this is a rarity that you have to double bomb, triple bomb a car or
Yeah.
whatever. But
Yeah.
it does happen, right? If you run into those situations where you have an odor that's that funky, we have some things that don't have, you don't ever have to get to that situation with our stuff. We have like a phase 1, phase 2 kind of thing. But long story short, if you had to use 3 or 4 vehicle kits in a car with the pumps and stuff like that, if there was a 1 drop of water on your shoe and you hit the brake pedal and that drop of water fell onto the carpet, there would be a bleach spot where that carpet was 100% like that,
Yeah.
because you're building the concentration up to to levels where it's unsafe. It turns into a bleach at that point.
Gotcha.
So for us, right, especially because the experience I've had with it, I've done situations in houses. We've had, animals in places. We've had, really nasty, foul human body odors, things, or,
Yeah.
bodily fluids, stuff like that, whatever. But you can treat any odor with a chlorine dioxide product if you treat it with a high enough concentration, right? You can
Right.
beat
Right.
any odor. The biggest thing is you want to find that middle ground that does the job. So for
Yeah.
us, the vehicle kits, the tablet size that we have with the aerator pump that we use, it increases the potency of the gas
Yep.
released, right? And it
Yep.
does it in a shorter amount of time, as I know you're aware of. But that in itself usually is enough to treat most vehicles, right? Now we have a product. We use smaller tablets as well. Now, our smaller tablets, we call them the minis, right? And the minis
Okay.
are basically the size of about an aspirin tablet. The cool thing about the minis is you can use them in a bunch of different ways. You can drop them into a spray bottle with water. That'll create a standalone solution for you. That's a cleaning and deodorization solution. So you can spray that to hit surfaces and subsurfaces, right? While the um, the vehicle kits themselves are designed more to treat the air, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So like the minis for us are surface and subsurface, and the vehicle kits are for the air. So the minis, you can put them in a with a spray bottle of water, standalone spray solution, boom. You can put them inside your favorite APC as a booster, for deodorization and cleaning properties. You can put it inside of an extractor, a Tornador Black, a steamer, right?
Oh,
And
nice.
when you use the minis in conjunction with a vehicle kit, especially when you're dealing with an odor situation, you're going to get a lot better results because you're attacking the odors, right, with the chlorine dioxide on a safe ppm level
Yeah.
that's not going to leave any residue. It's not going to stain. It's not going to streak, right? It's going to leave no harmful byproducts behind. But what it's doing, especially when you're using steam, is you're pushing that steam in through the carpet and the padding. Any of that junk that's built up underneath the padding, that funky smell, that little drop of water, that thing of soda or spilled milk or even water that built up over dirt in time that gives you that moldy kind of smell. When you're blasting that steamer in that area, you can smell almost like that swimming pool smell that you get from when you use the tablets
Yep.
coming up in the steamer. And then in between, right, you're going to smell that funky odor. And basically what winds up happening is as you're steaming that same spot, you're not going to smell the funky odor and the swimming pool smell anymore. You're just going to smell that swimming pool smell.
Yeah.
That's how you know that area no longer has that funk.
Right.
It's
No,
a
and
little,
that's it. Yeah, and
little aspirin tablet right there.
yeah, yeah, that's interesting. So what's that? Probably like what, like a couple of grams or something like that? Tablet?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's exponentially smaller than the vehicle deodorization
yeah.
kits.
And your vehicle kits are
And
probably
we're
what?
doing a lot of water with that too, right? So like with the
Right,
vehicle kits, you're using a very small amount of water, large amount
right.
of chemical. When you're using the minis, it's a very small amount of chemical with a very large amount of water.
Okay.
So what
Yeah.
winds up?
So the vehicle kit there, that's like the 20-gram tablets that you put in a cup. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. That's pretty much the same
Yep.
setup that I've
Yep.
got. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, man, I like your idea about, you guys doing the minis like that, being able to put them in, um, all those different ways to apply it because, like we talked about on the phone the other day, and I think it's something that a lot of people don't really know that you can do with chlorine dioxide is, and again, this is something I learned from my buddy Bill. Was I had a gentleman that came to me and his dog had got excited and peed on the back seat and it
Oh yeah.
got in that cushion and he was
Yeah,
wanting
man.
it, steamed out. And so my buddy Bill was telling me, he's like, look, just take a 20, dissolve it in a gallon of water because you want more water with it, because it's a bigger tablet and you're dissolving it. And then he's like, and then take it and either like spray it heavy on the seat or you can pour it on the seat, let it sit, and then hot water extract it out.
Mhm,
And I'll
mhm.
tell you what, man, like I was straight like mashing my face
Yeah.
into the seat and
Yeah.
couldn't smell anything, and
Yeah.
the guy even messaged me like a couple weeks later, like, thank you so much. Like the smell
Sure.
didn't come back. And
Yep.
so like I've used that trick now for just about everything. Like the
Yeah.
last one I had was a lady, and it's actually kind of funny. Yesterday I did an interior detail on her car. Her car didn't have any odors in it, so she didn't need it. But a few months back, we did her husband's car or her husband's truck, and it had sat outside for a while or whatever, had got a rodent in it.
Mm.
And she's like, it's peed, like, in
Yep.
some area, like I can smell it, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
like,
Yep.
so
They
I
pee as they walk, so like it's like
yeah, so I
everywhere they
did.
go, they're peeing.
Right. So I did the same thing. Like I just dissolved it down, put it in a spray bottle so that I could like hit all the seats, all the carpet, extracted it out. And then when I was done, then just popped a 20 in there with the aerator kit. I know you're showing the aerator kit, and that's cool too, because like you said, Christian, right? That's just accelerating the process. So you can knock that, dropping a tablet and leaving it for 6 to 8 hours down to like an hour, is,
Yep.
is usually what I run with the
Yep.
aerator.
Yep. I got guys that are true psychopaths that do it probably in a half hour or less, depending on the odor. I mean, we've done so many odors. I can get into a vehicle. I'm like, I could drop this for 25 minutes and we'll be good.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
like once you start to really kind of know, but if you got something that's like I usually say like a 8, 9, or a 10,
Yeah.
on the funk level,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, basically I would say just keep it closed, and
Yeah,
even after it's done for that hour, leave it shut for another hour.
Yeah.
People don't realize a lot of times when you're messing with the gas, if you open that car door up, you're letting a ton of that gas out of the car. Even if you try to close the door nicely, you're still creating that vacuum and that wind tunnel, and you're pushing a bunch of wind in and out and gas, both ways as you shut the door. So I always tell
Right.
people
part
like
of the reason it's battery
window
operated
shop.
too. You don't have to run a
Yeah.
cord outside there.
Nice.
We give you your batteries with ours too, by the way, when you get it.
But I'm always
It's
telling people it's like window shop. You want to put
yeah.
your hands up against the window and look at it.
Yeah.
That's fine, but don't open the doors. Like, oh, I wonder if it's working.
Yeah.
Because you're letting a ton of
And
gas out.
and it's potent too. I remember the first time,
Oh yeah, baby.
so like when I first got turned on to it, and man, this is years ago. It was actually from my buddy Leo with Simonites, because they have the odor out system, which is basically, same thing, tablets in the
Yep.
little cup and all that stuff.
Yep.
And what he was telling me is when you get bad odors, he was like, run it for 45 and then hop in, turn the air on recirculation so that it
Yep.
goes through the vents and everything.
Yep.
And I remember the first time, like I popped that door open, I was like, Oh man, it was like,
Yeah, man. That's why we don't tell
Yeah.
we don't tell people to
Yeah.
do that because, like, I mean, we can do that, right? That's an
yeah,
option, but it's not a smart option if you're not going to wear a respirator and stuff like that.
yeah,
Man, we've
yeah.
messed with the
That
product.
was the next time
Yeah,
I put the respirator
Yeah,
on, it's like,
especially
yeah,
if we're
man.
dealing with a retail customer versus a
Safety,
professional detailer.
safety
yeah,
first, all day,
Yeah.
every day. You know,
yeah,
My
absolutely.
dad told me, now he didn't give me many pieces of advice. He told me if a cat pisses in your car, it burns it. But that's before he knew about bio bombs, and now he hasn't given me any good advice. So if you think about that,
I love that.
it's changed the lineage. But yeah, my dad used to be like, yeah, man, cat pisses in your car, get rid of it, burn it. You'll never get that smell out.
yeah.
Happened to him in like a 77 Dodge Dart, I think he told me
Oh
about.
wow.
Oh, dude, it's ridiculous. We had some lady the other day call me. She was like, "Oh yeah, stray cat got in my car." It's in California. Stray cat got in my car, sprayed everywhere. Must have been living in there for a few days or whatever. I haven't been in the vehicle. I'm like, how did this stray cat get in?
Yeah,
Like, I left the window open. Well, I mean, what do you expect? You know? But long
Yeah.
story short, same thing. It's like, a lot of times with retail people, it's like I tell them, like, you got to buy a steamer. If you don't want to buy a steamer, you got to get to a detailer. If you get to a detailer and they don't buy our stuff already, just get in touch with me. I'll talk to them. We'll get you the stuff. They'll get it out for you or whatever. If not, buy a steamer that's cheap and throw a mini inside your steamer because it's just going to get you the best results.
I'm a big proponent of the aerator for everyone, detailers,
yeah,
especially retail customers. Because the thing with retail customers is we have the directions on the bottle, but they get impatient and they don't want to, if it's a 10, they don't want to give it the 10 hours you might need. They're
right.
like, I'll ask them, they're like, well, it's softened the smell. I'm like, that's cool. How long did you leave it for? They're like, about an hour and a half. I'm
How
like,
many times? Yeah, how many times you open the
yeah,
door up in between the
yeah.
treatment
Yeah,
Did
times?
you smell it?
4.
Is it a
yeah,
prime rib or a turkey?
yeah,
Relax, let
yeah,
it cook, you know. And they're like, oh, so then we get them to buy the aerator because for me, being in the used car industry, one of the big pains is because there's no such thing as a used car factory, right? So they find the
right,
car, they want the car, they're like the detailer does the full detail, it gets the full detail, then it goes on the lot, then they do the spot, they do the spot, they try to get the smell out, they know it's there, so you put some of that nice little detail spray on there to kind of hide it, to get them off the lot. You say have a nice day, and they're like, we'll manage the smell, no problem.
right.
And then they end up coming to us or a detailer, and I have to tell detailers that. And I think our solution is the ultimate solution for that, especially from a non-detailer perspective for a customer,
Yep.
because that is they don't know what to do. They're going to try a bunch of different things, and we have a lot of people reach out from us because they hear about us on the internet, and they're like,
Right.
"Hey, this is what I did when I bought my used car. I couldn't
Yep.
get rid of the smell. My wife is
Yeah,
annoying me, or I bought this and I just can't. I
Yep.
can't
And
stand it
here's the
anymore."
deal, right? Most of the time with retail, right? Some people want to learn about the science. Some people want to know how it works, right? But then other
Mhm.
people just like even in a used car situation, it's like the used car manager, like they don't really care
yeah. Just get rid of the
how to
No,
smell.
get
Yeah,
rid of the smell. I don't care about the science.
yeah,
I don't need to know about why it works, what makes it special.
yeah.
Are you telling me it works? I'm like, yeah. They're like, all right, then
They
do it.
don't they don't want to know how the hot dog's made. They just want to eat the hot dog, right?
yeah.
Exactly.
Like,
You
yeah,
Exactly.
got to talk.
Well,
I
most
mean,
of us don't want to know
yeah,
how the hot dog's
yeah,
made. We just want to eat the hot dog,
exactly.
you know?
I know how to
But
talk to those guys, man. Having been a high volume used car for almost 9 years, I'm like, look, do you want me to make your customer disappear? I got something for you.
Yeah,
right.
Because the thing about this is if they come back for a second detail, you want a good review. You want to keep them happy.
And you want that car to not smell anymore at all
Yeah.
because they bought it back for an odor and they don't get rid of it. It just starts to become a shitstorm
And your
downhill.
detailer's pissed at you because now he's doing a brand new detail with all their crap in the car.
yeah,
He's pissed. That
yeah,
detailer's ultra pissed
Right,
because
but if he doesn't have a solutions too, that's the same problem, right?
yeah.
Like a lot of guys, I mean, dude, we had really, really foul situations at dealerships over the years,
Mhm.
where like my dude will text me and be like, listen, I need you guys to come by, man. Like, I need you to bring the head big guns. This one's bad, bad, And they'll be like, dude, it'll be like a 23, 24, right? Like Hyundai Elantra, brand new, like maybe 10,000 miles on it. And you're like, what on earth
yeah,
is coming from this car? And the doors aren't even open yet, dude.
yeah,
You're like, "Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I smell it coming through the molding at 5 feet away. What on earth?" And you open the door, you're like, "Oh my god!" Like, just the worst. Where it's
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
"All right, man, like, you gotta get in there, steam everything out." The steaming process in itself is tough to even take in at that point,
Yeah.
not because the steam for the minis is hard to breathe, because it's actually pretty therapeutic, if you want my opinion, when you're actually using the steamer with them. It's actually the funky smell that comes up with it,
Right, yeah.
you know?
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, man, I had one of those last week. I had a real bad one. There's a big air conditioning company down here, and they had acquired a smaller company,
Uh-huh.
and so one of the vehicles that they acquired with the company was like a 2-year-old Explorer XLT that the lady who was driving it just, used it as like apparently her personal pig pen with her kids and everything. The guy tells me, he's like, "Look, man," he's like, "We had to do 3 rounds of pesticide just to kill the German roaches that were in it. Like, that's how bad it was." He's like,
Wow.
"I need all the seats ripped out. I need everything you could do. I need, deodorization." And so I told him, insurance reasons, I just don't remove seats. I'm not one of those detailers. So he's like, "How
Yeah.
about I remove them and bring it to you?" And I was like,
Right.
"Absolutely."
Sure.
And, so after, I mean, the smell was more just whatever, like, it wasn't like food or piss or any of that stuff. It was
Mhm.
just funky kind type of smell. So I dropped a bio bomb in the cup in the front cup holder and put one in the back. Since all the seats and everything were out, I put it back in the wheel well. Because he even took the wheel out. Like, there was all kinds of like Skittles and shit stuck to the wheel well underneath the spare tire and everything. I closed that bitch up and left it overnight. I didn't even put an aerator in. I was like, I'm just gonna let it run
Sometimes you
overnight.
have to just let it
Yeah,
cook, man. Yeah,
just
absolutely.
and that's dude, and I come back the next morning and open it up and like, it's just got that clean, Cloroxy bleach smell, that you get with the chlorine, so yeah, so yeah, I know how those could do. I just did one of those recently.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we and another thing too is because I get in this conversation a lot because I deal with obviously I help Chris with the sales side and Chris does sales too. Many hats at Bio Bombs Chris wears and I wear a few other ones too. And
It's
you
a
know,
multiple hatted business for
yeah,
sure.
for
Yeah,
sure. Um, not all these similar products are created equal, right? Some are
yeah.
too strong.
Speak on it, Godfrey. Speak
Yeah.
on it.
Some are not strong enough.
Amen.
Some of them are the application and how you deploy it
Mhm,
is
you know that's
different.
right.
So, I mean, and a lot, sometimes there's gel applicators and that, and we like to think
Mhm. You
ours
know it, boy.
is
No,
very
he's speaking
simple. We try to
100%
keep
true.
it simple,
Yeah.
and
100% true. There's
I
like
mean,
there's the sponge ones, right? There's the sponge applicator,
Okay.
tablets. I don't know if you ever seen their like little
No, I
clamshell tray.
no, I've
So
never
it's
seen.
a
I
sponge
don't.
look.
I've only seen either like the tablets like you guys have, or I did in a pinch. There is like a detail supply company about a half a mile from me, and it's not Corey, because I always tell everybody Corey's half a mile from me. Corey wasn't open because it was a weekend or whatever. They had some that was like, it almost looked like a ramen noodle, like,
Wonton container.
yeah,
Yeah,
like the
yeah, yeah.
microwave, and like the tablet was crushed up in the bottom, and it had like a
Yes.
little grate, and then you filled the water up and then toss it
Yep.
in there or
So
whatever.
I call that one the wonton container. There's the clamshell sponge version.
Okay.
There's a couple other mixed kind of part A, part B of a certain solution. Put it inside this little tray thing. There's like a powdery
Yeah,
shaving
I've heard
one
of
that you can
that
mix with something else. Like, there's a bunch of different companies out there that have products. Now, granted, do I think that our product's the best? Yes. Can you guys call me Pan the Organizer? Sure. You know what I
one.
mean? The reality of this situation is I do truly believe that we had the best version of our product. Now, one, I think it comes from the customer experience that you get from dealing with us, but two, the revisions that we've made in our tablets over the years, I feel like have gotten us a really good blend of strength and potency, right? Through the
Mhm.
delivery process. And additionally, what's almost more important is it's not overly chlorine on the
Okay,
back end, right?
gotcha.
Because we've had different variations over the years prior to us doing them ourselves and getting, and pressing them and making them. But even prior to that, where it's like you get done doing a treatment and it's really, really strong on that
Yeah,
chlorine smell to the point where it's almost like, sure, the car doesn't smell like cigarettes anymore or smell like crap, right?
right.
But now it smells like like a bleach bomb went off and it's super strong.
Right,
yeah,
right.
So
there's a balance to it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely, man. It's a dance in life, right? Like you want the best of both worlds, but you need that back end to not be as potent and heavy hitting as what happens, let's say, with like an ozone machine, right? Where you kind of get that burnt chemical smell that
yeah,
kind of lingers in the vehicle and you have to air it out for several hours prior to kind of letting somebody back in. The
right.
beauty of chlorine dioxide, you open the doors, by the time the doors are open, you walk around that vehicle, you're good to sit in it if you wanted to with no problem whatsoever.
Right.
different
Exactly.
people who have like hypersensitivities or maybe heightened sensitivity for
Smell.
smells and stuff like that, it might bother them. So we have an actual trick that we teach everybody, and this applies to anybody out there who uses even products that aren't ours, right? You take a bottle of distilled water and you spray that distilled water inside the cabin of the vehicle. Spray the carpet, spray it in the air, spray the seats if you can, if they're fabric,
Okay.
spray the headliner. And then what winds up happening is the gas molecules that would much rather be suspended in as a gas in a liquid than
Mhm.
in the air, you spray that distilled water and they suck themselves right back up into the
Okay.
water. And then water molecules that come out of the spray bottle are so small that they dissipate and they clip that swimming pool bleach kind of smell
Oh,
after the
okay.
treatment.
That's interesting.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, this is part, like I said, part of the reason why I feel like we have the best products, right? Like we offer the best customer experience. We give people the best service in regards to teaching and training people to learn, to understand. Like we said earlier, right? You might not want to know how the product works. You just want the product to be fixed. But our detailers that buy from us, right?
Yeah.
If you're an educated detailer, when the customer asks you questions about the science and what makes this difference than say like a vent clip or something else, you have the ability to be able to teach them and teach them something about the product that you're going to be using inside their vehicle, which once again adds value to our customers, right? For upselling to their clients.
Right.
Because for us, right, odor removal is a huge market for us, obviously, right? But we teach our guys it's not just about odor removal, right? If you have a car for a customer, if Godfrey brings his car to me and his car doesn't smell bad, I can't offer him an odor removal service, right?
Yeah.
I look like an asshole if I do that.
Right. Yeah.
However, if Godfrey's car is dirty and it has a little bit of a smell to it or whatever, even if it doesn't have a smell to it, say, hey, Godfrey, not sure if you're aware of this or not, but Cooper Tire did a study back in 2021. Americans spend on average 18 days a year inside their vehicle. That's 9 days every 6 months. We become very nose blind to our own smell and our own funk that we create inside of our vehicles.
Right.
Today, if you're interested, we offer something called an interior air quality reset service. And that's going to reset your cabin back to 0 and allow you to have a nice, fresh, neutral start for the year. We usually recommend doing that once or twice a year. We can do it today for you for the cheap price of X amount of dollars, right? Now, all of a sudden, you're selling an added value service. You're teaching the people that buy our product, right? That it's not just about the odor removal, it's about resetting the car's interior back to 0. When you do that, you offer an extra value to your customers. We have guys that charge 50 to $100 doing that service 5 times a week, dude. They're making $1,500,
Damn.
200, 2 grand extra a
I never
month
I never
just
thought about it.
doing
Yeah.
interior air quality reset services. And every time me and Godfrey pitch this, right? The best part about it is we're talking and we give this spiel to somebody new that we're dealing with. And like, hold on. What was that? And we're like, don't worry about it, dude. We'll send you a text message or whatever.
Yeah.
Interior air quality reset, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Send me that text. I'm gonna need that text.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, the thing about it
That's
is when we
that's
talk to
super
people about that,
smart, man. Yeah.
yeah, when we talk, so I mean, Chris has been around the detailing game longer than I have. I've been around the car game, but
Yeah.
I've been around detailers, different types of detailers, right? A
So
dealership
you know what
detailer.
kind of whiny bitches they really are, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of whiny bitches going on, that's for sure.
there's
There
some
is,
tough runners and gunners
yeah,
too,
there's some
man.
tough runners, but there is,
100%.
Yeah.
but I do notice this. There's a difference between a dealership detailer who's doing spots
Night
and
and
a
day.
detailer that is outside of a dealership, right? That's doing it,
Right.
like a mobile detailer, someone has a shop. But the one thing I do notice with new detailers coming up, I always talk to them about the money making angle, because I feel like a lot of detailers, and it's not a negative thing, but a lot of them want to be like, you know what? I want to go from 0 to 100. I want to get into ceramic coatings right away,
Yeah.
right? For restore day one, right? When I think the money that's left out there that people are looking for are interior cleanings. And if you become good at interior cleanings, that's the thing you're going to get clean most. Like how often are you going to sell that repeat customer ceramic coating versus an interior cleaning? You probably could get 2 to 3 interior cleanings from a year if they're one of your repeat customers. If they're a maintenance customer, maybe even more. And I have to talk to them about, they're like, I want to make
Speak
more
on it,
money.
Godfrey.
Yeah. I want to make more money. And, we're kind of designed to make that interior cleaning process less arduous and less difficult, because that way you don't have to spend as much labor on the inside chasing a ghost and a smell and trying to find out where it's coming from. We get a tackle for them while they're cleaning the outside of the
Right.
car.
Right,
Like I talk,
plus we're giving you 2 different angles, right? Like,
yeah,
you have the odor removal angle, and you have the interior air quality reset angle.
Yeah.
Now you have 2 different ways. I tell guys all the time, man, take the shot. Like,
Yeah.
worst thing the customer could say is no. Educate
Right.
them the same way I just told you. Give them the facts. It's 9 days every 6 months. That's a long amount of time to be sitting inside your car.
Yeah.
We're all passing gas. We're eating food. We're burping. We got kids dropping food in the back. We're picking up, people from soccer class. We're going to grab lunch for the office or whatever it might be. Like we spend a lot of time on our vehicles. We become nose blind, right? Like you can walk into your house. Like basically you look like, okay, like my house doesn't smell. You live there, right? Like,
Right.
but I
Yeah.
could come over and all of a sudden I might smell that you have dogs.
Yeah.
Or I might smell that your trash can might be a little funky or something. This is no
Right.
diss, obviously, to you or whatever. I'm just using it as an example, right? Like we become nose blind to the
We
smells
can't
that we
smell it over the
surround
mic.
ourselves in. That we surround ourselves with, right? We become very nose blind to it. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
So the air quality reset is nice. I mean, on top of the fact that like riding in a clean vehicle is just it's a really, you notice that more than you notice coming. You walk up to a clean car, it's clean. It rains, it's not as clean anymore. Even with coating, you got to wash it, you got to take care of it, you got to maintain it. The interior of a car, especially if it's a dump, when you get to it and you refresh that thing back to zero, it smells good, it's presentable. The car, it breathes new life into it. We spend the time inside the car, not outside. Everyone else sees the outside. We live on the inside, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we
I mean,
want to always educate people, no matter what, how to make some extra money. And that, get back to full circle to what I was saying, was that's what I feel like makes our product the best on the market, is because
you want to be a
get
time
this.
saver, right? Because I'll ask people, how long is your average interior detail? And I'll be like, and some people will tell me 4 to 5 hours, and I'll be like, do you think that it should take that long, right? And in my opinion, unless it's like a disaster car, right?
Yeah.
Really, interior detail, outside maybe 2 to 3 hours. You're hopefully, if you're a mobile detail, you want to get that done, right? You don't want to be out there for 4 or 5 hours on each job.
Right.
And I also tell them, like, I feel like we could cut out a half an hour to an hour for them with our product. And that's huge, right? Because
Right.
if you do that times 3, that's another job at the end of the day. You might be
Yeah.
fitting 3 in instead of 2. Maybe you're working 4 days instead of 5,
Right. On
right?
top of, if you're chipping $40 on top for using the minis in a vehicle kit, or $60 on top or whatever, and you're doing that a couple times a week as well.
Yeah.
So
No, listen, man, that's my favorite part of selling interiors is selling them on a chlorine-dioxide tablet, because I charge $150 to do a odor, service. And that's my favorite part, because I drop a $20 tablet in a cup of
listen, man,
water.
you got to join our business program. We got
And
we got a discount for you on the side.
yeah,
I can get you
all
products
right.
a lot cheaper
Yeah,
than
that's
that for
fine
you.
with me.
Not
$15.96.
stepping on anybody's toes or nothing like
No, no,
that,
no,
but I'm just
no. Listen,
publicly announcing if
I don't give a shit. Wherever I can save money, I save money. But listen, I'll drop a
$17.96 instead
I'll
of,
drop a $20 tablet in there, close the doors, and go sit down and scroll Facebook for an hour and get paid basically
right.
for sitting on Facebook. That's what
Sure.
that's a great
Yeah,
service.
It can help you
absolutely.
tackle a car that you don't want to touch sometimes too, right? Like you get
Exactly.
that minivan. No one wants the minivan, right? They're
Yeah.
like, oh shit. I mean, that I used to see that with the detailers at the dealership. They did want the minivan was always a disaster 9 times out of 10.
Well, there's 25 new cars that do on the lot. 7 of them are
Yeah.
minivans. For some
Yeah.
reason, none of the minivans are
Yeah, none
detailed
are
yet,
ever
but
done.
all
Eh.
the 22s, 23s, 24 Camrys, they're all spick and span, and no
Yeah.
one wants to
It'll
touch
be a
the
Saturday at the end
minivans.
of the day. I'm like, yo, can you do a full on the minivan? They're like, yo, I can't do this. I'm like, well, maybe if you did that minivan on Monday,
Right.
you wouldn't be trying to get it done on Saturday because they're hiding from the minivan. And that's what my GM would
That's a
say.
fact. That's a fact.
Yeah. And
100%.
the funny thing is, the thing is, you're not chasing that ghost anymore in a minivan.
Yeah.
You clean it, you make it look good, and you just set the bomb. You're not having to be like, man, I have to scrub every inch because I don't know where the smell is coming from.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's for maybe everybody who's listening and is obviously getting a super and heavy duty crash course in the chlorine dioxide, and maybe they're an ozone user. So let's, because I kind of know, but I want you guys to explain it. What's the differences between using ozone versus using chlorine dioxide?
Sure. I mean, Godfrey, you want me to take point on this one?
I mean, blowtorch in the face versus not. No, I'm just joking. You can, you can take point on that one, Christian. I mean, listen, if you Google ozone, you'd be blown away by what shows up, right? You'll
Yes.
see the Amazon links, you'll see all, shopping on Google and all that stuff, and then you see the EPA stuff, and you're like, damn, really? They're not regulated, right? I think California has something against it. I could be wrong
Yep.
there.
Yeah, you're not supposed to bring them into
But
California.
yeah, Christian, you've seen that a lot more too. I mean, I think I've let 10 less brain cells from my experience with ozone one time. So
Absolutely, man. Listen, so what makes both chlorine dioxide, our tablets, ozone machines effective, right, is that they are changing the structure kind of the air around them, right, that they're in.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't use ozone machines the right way. If you're going to be stubborn and you want to use one of those and you want to move with the dinosaurs because you're still stuck having a pager and writing stuff down on paper, that's fine. No diss to anybody who wants to use one. Do me a solid favor. Place the machine outside. Put it on top of a step ladder. Run a hose
Preach.
through the
Preach.
run
I'm gonna do it now. Preach, because
run
that's the
run
thing
a
retailers
hose,
don't
right?
know.
Right, run a hose, vent it up with some foam, and pump the ozone into the vehicle. Please, for the love of God, do not put the damn thing on the center console or front seat.
Or
You're
pointing
gonna
at the door panel.
Dude, point at the door panel. Open the door up next time you do that, genius, and look at it. You're going to have a shiny spot on the plastic. Why is that? Because you're blasting all that stuff directly close range, high concentration at the door panel. You're not supposed to do that. Plus, you're breaking down the actual inside of the ozone machine, which, by the way, it's all manufactured in Bangladesh or China with zero regulations on electrical components or anything. You're buying it from Amazon from a company named Chin Wu or something like that. That the next week is
Yuzu.
Jing Chang or something. It's no diss to China. I'm just saying in general, they're pop-up companies. You don't even know what you're getting, and you're putting it inside of a vehicle and walking away most of the time, right?
Yeah.
Like we had a guy when we first started, and this is Scout's honor. I'm a Boy Scout. I would never throw this up if I wasn't telling the truth. First account we ever closed stuff on, my buddy Rob was doing stuff with. He went in, started pitching it to a guy that he knew. He was like, yo, dude, I'm actually looking for another solution. My ozone machine just caught fire inside of a car while I was at lunch the other day. His shop is in the downstairs of where his office was upstairs. The detail bays were like kind of downstairs
Yeah.
around the back of the building. He was like, dude, if I didn't come back from lunch earlier or whatever, I would have literally lost my entire business. Now, luckily, it
Crazy.
wasn't a customer's vehicle. He bought European imports and stuff. He had an electrical issue within the vehicle that, kind of was exacerbated by the ozone and what was kind of going on inside the vehicle because he had the ozone machine inside the car. So, again, by all means, use one if you want. I don't like them. One, because of the regulation, like the electronic components that are in them. I just don't feel like I would trust them, especially inside of a vehicle.
Could affect your
Second of
respiratory
all,
system.
they're clunky. You got to knock them over if you're putting them outside the right way. You can't work on the exterior of a vehicle if you set one up the right way because you have to vent the vehicle, right? On top of that, you have to set it for a certain amount of hours and then probably go back and get the machine, which is absolutely ridiculous to begin with. Outside of that, it smells like a burnt chemical shitstorm inside when it's done. If you take all those factors that I just told you and you circle back to the original reason why I don't like them is ozone gets created inside the vehicle by adding an extra oxygen molecule, right? And that does something to everything inside the vehicle. 100% of things inside the vehicle get affected by ozone. That is a really big problem, especially when it comes to older vehicles, vinyl, plastics, leathers, seats, fabrics, whatever. It will actually start to break down the integrity of those materials, especially if they've already been damaged by the sun. You could be in an argument with me, Godfrey. We could be sitting in an older vehicle that'll be ozoned. I can say something like, get the heck out of here and hit the dashboard and crack. That thing will split in 3 pieces.
Yeah.
And that's a true story. You can look that stuff up. It
Yeah, I
will
mean-
actually break down the plastics and fabrics inside of a vehicle. So, on top of all those other reasons, if you still want to use ozone, knock yourself out. But the reality, you use chlorine dioxide, right?
Yeah.
It's a selective oxidizer. It goes after certain things only. Only the things that aren't neutral get attacked by chlorine dioxide gas. Everything does not get affected the same way as an ozone machine affects everything. That's what makes us more unique. And in my opinion, and anybody's opinion who actually understands this stuff the same way, more effective because you're not damaging anything. You're not damaging everything in order to remove the bad things that you want to damage and kind of ruin the cell
Right.
structure of or whatever.
Well, the other thing too, you didn't mention it, and I'll say it. The other thing too about ozone machines, when the guys are buying the cheap ones that sit in the car because they're not sitting outside, is an ozone machine needs oxygen to create ozone. So once
Right.
you put it in that car and it sucks all that oxygen up in that car, which let's face it, I mean it's not a lot. What,
Nope.
50 square feet or however many cubic meters or whatever.
If you got an expedition, you got lucky.
Then right, then once it sucks all that air out, it's basically choking itself because it can't create any more. And so that's
Putting
why
extra stress on the
sometimes
machine at that point.
Right, and then that's why sometimes guys are like, "Oh, well, they had to bring it back, and I had to do another one because I didn't get the smell." Well,
Well,
that's
that's
why
even
you
more
did.
dangerous,
Yeah,
right? Because another point that I didn't mention is if you do multiple treatments in an ozone machine, all that damage I was telling you you're doing to the
yeah,
interior, you're doing it over and over and
yeah,
over again. And what happens
exactly.
with guys when they try to do one treatment and it doesn't work, they leave it for like 5, 6, 7 hours afterwards. And that's the worst thing you could
Yeah,
possibly do
and
with an ozone
again,
machine.
if you're leaving it for that long, it's still not even doing anything because it's gonna suck up all the true
Right.
oxygen,
Right,
in
right. You're
in
right
the
back to
Yeah,
first
square
30
one
minutes
again,
or
and it
whatever.
smells like a burnt chemical
Yeah,
shitstorm again
yeah.
when you're
If you
exactly.
done.
use ozone, I'm gonna have a hot take right here. You're a curmudgeon. All right, listen, and that longs for the days of wooden tires or something like that, or wooden wheels, because you could just Google ozone, EPA, and it's right there, man. And some people might not be like so trusting the EPA, but it just says potential risk: decrease in lung function, aggravation of asthma, throat irritation and cough, chest pain and shortness of breath, inflammation of lung tissue, higher susceptibility to respiratory infection. Now you can get an ozone machine that has an EPA number on it, but I guarantee you those guys aren't popping it on Amazon. And the other thing about it too is that I notice is if you do use ozone, it can work. You have to be very rigid and very
Yeah,
strict on how you deploy it. I had someone tell me, a friend of mine, she was pregnant. She was a detailer. She couldn't detail her own car, right? They're getting a car detailed. She outsourced it to another detailer. This guy used the ozone machine and he used the ozone machine while the car was wet still, right? Which is a big no-no.
bad
Yeah,
luck.
And he didn't know that she would know because she was a detailer. And he was like, what the, and she was ultra pissed at him. And that makes it even worse. And that's the problem is that I find that people who use the ozone machine these days, this for the majority that I talk to, are people that are just getting into detailing or doing interior type of cleanings where they need a different solution than the regular,
yeah.
and those ones don't know. So
No.
those are the only ones that are really using them because it's the first thing that comes to mind: ozone, ozone, ozone.
Well, yeah, and then somebody told him to do that,
Yeah,
right? Because we get guys that
yeah.
pop on our Instagram posts all the time, right? We're like some of the hits that go viral. We get videos that get a couple million views here and there, or whatever, and random two, three
You're
hundred
selling
thousand.
time machines,
But
you
yeah,
know.
exactly. Like, oh man, ozone 100% better, and like that's
Yeah.
all they say or whatever. And
Are
like,
you talking about this time machine that makes that makes
yeah,
time travel possible? We save you 3 hours. This is
Yeah.
the flux capacitor or the aerator. That's what I tell them.
exactly, exactly.
I got some props for you today.
Yeah, well, let's face it, ozone is kind of the more known term for this. I still feel
Yeah.
like
Oh, people throw
chlor
ozone out for our products all the time. Like, yeah, ozone it up, and I'm like always DMing. I'm like, nah, don't do
yeah.
that. Get your
I feel
terminology
like
right.
chlorine dioxide, at least I don't know, maybe it's because like, it's one of those things, like, you don't notice it until you use it kinda thing, but I feel like over the past number of years that I've been using chlorine dioxide, like, I start seeing it more, like, obviously, I've seen you guys pop up over the last few years on, social medias and things like that, and obviously, Jamie the cleaner being a big
Yep,
supporter of you guys, like,
yep,
he's popping you guys and everything. Um, but I still think, ozone is kind of like, I'll use the analogy, ozone's like wax and chlorine dioxide's like ceramic. Like,
sure.
everybody still knows wax,
Mhm.
and while ceramic's getting more known, I feel like it's kind of that. So I think that's the
Yeah.
other thing that the struggles are.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think we
and
got
it's
lucky ourselves with the brand too, man. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously
man,
we decided to create something that was a little bit more exciting, a little bit more fun, right? Odor removal itself is kind of a bland topic, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But we kind of were able to find a lane and make it a little bit more fun,
Yeah.
right? Our
Yeah.
pages like that. All of our social pages are like that. We like to kind of bring out the new scents. I mean, haven't really even got into our air freshener
Yeah,
bars
yeah,
yet.
that's what I was gonna say.
Have you
Let's
tried
let's
those yet or no?
No, no, I haven't. I don't use a lot of air fresheners. I'm not a
Yeah,
big air freshener
you gotta
guy,
link up with
but
us at MTA.
yeah.
We gotta give you a couple to try out, dude. You're gonna
Yeah.
love them.
fresh AF is our most popular, and I don't want to demonetize him, but it stands for fresh as fuck.
Yeah,
So, but this is
yeah.
still is this still our most popular one, Christian, or is there getting
Hands down. Nah,
yeah?
it's still there, man. Until somebody knocks it off the throne, I told everybody we're not coming out with another air freshener spray unless fresh air gets knocked off the throne for number
Yeah.
one. So
Yeah. It's
How's it compete against Masterson's 420 air freshener scent that he had like a couple years ago or whatever?
Did you try that ever, Matt? I never tried
No, I
it.
haven't. Isn't that the one that smells like? It's supposed to smell like weed, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I don't know
That's
if
why
it's
I heard him talking about
I
that
don't know if
concept.
it
That's wild.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
we're
don't know
gonna.
if it's actually called 420 or what. I forget what he
Does he
called
still
it.
have it or no?
No, I think it was like a super limited
It's
run.
just
I'll
a little
ask him if
funny
next time
run.
I see him. Like, yo, Greg, you got
Godfrey
any
messes with them
420?
all the time
I see
online.
him every
They
now and
they
then.
battle each other online back and forth
Tick,
all the time, having fun.
TikTok live. I'll ask him like, yo, you got any of that 420 cent?
Yeah.
I always tease him. I'm like, oh, you see the stripper scent right here from Chemical
I
Guys?
was
And
I was hoping, yeah. I was actually I got a little excited a couple of weeks ago because I talked to him at SEMA and he was kind of grilling me about the paint correction competition and I was like, why don't you come to MTE? And he's like, yeah, it's nothing. MTE's garbage. And I said, dude, it's
Well, I'll tell you what, that's a perfect
not.
that doesn't
impersonation.
sound like Greg. Come
That's a
on
perfect
now.
impersonation. If I've
Yeah.
only met the guy one time in person, but it sounds like that's dead on.
And
Greg's watching this episode now. That's gonna
yeah,
happen.
Of course he
I
is.
hope
Of
he does.
course he is. We're gonna have
Um,
him on next week.
but he was,
Oh, Bob's talking shit.
yeah, he was,
Yeah.
and so I told him, I was like, no, man, like it's really gotten better over the years or whatever. And so, it was like 2 weeks ago, he shot me a text and he goes, hey, so I hear you're allowing any tool in the paint correction competition. And I was like, yeah. He's like, rotary? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, interesting. I might have to come now. I was like, let's go. Like, but
He's just
I
looking
still
for
don't.
a reason. He's looking for a
I,
reason
I
to
don't.
go. He
You
wants to
know.
act like he doesn't want to go and then looking for a
Yeah.
reason to show up.
I know.
I only
And-
met the guy once and I'm just messing with him because everybody else does right now or whatever. But honestly, like, here's the deal about MTA. And we can speak on
Greg's
that.
not getting picked on. That's for sure. It's self-inflicted.
Yeah. But my thing is this, right? Like MTE this year to last year. I
Uh-huh.
mean, Godfrey, you can speak on this as well, right? I mean, we're getting text messages multiple times a week for the past month since we announced we were going, where it's like, yo, dude, see you at MTE. Yo, dude, can't wait to see you at MTE. Can't wait to meet in person. Look forward to catching a picture at the pick
A
wall.
lot of
Like,
chatter about it this year. I mean,
oh, dude,
I
it's
went last
wild. I
year
mean,
and it was good, right? We had a really good time. It was really my first forte into that world, being immersed in it, so to speak,
Yep.
right? And we were touched by the support we had out there. We didn't have a table out there. We were meeting people like, hey, here's a sample, not in a convention, but we'll be there this year officially.
Heck yeah,
And the thing is, we got to meet people on DIY's bus, Ivan and all those guys, and
yeah, that was fun.
yeah, it was fun and it was cool. But this year, like, I hear a lot of chatter about it, right? Like, I do TikTok lives a lot on the BioBombs account on TikTok, and that's where I run into Greg a lot and these other people. And I hear people talking about MTE, and it feels like less, and just going by the layout in the hall, less PDR heavy and more detail heavy this year.
It's getting there. I mean, so
I'm
I've
saying
been
2 years,
talking.
we're going to take over the whole show, dude.
Yeah, I mean,
Guarantee you. It's a more affordable SEMA.
It is. So I've been talking obviously with Sheldon for the last like 4 years now on the show. And every year we would do an MTE one. We did one. We always do it like when registration opens, so it was back in like October or whatever. But I always ask him, like how's the detail side holding up? And so I believe it was last year. Yeah, so last year was the first time he said there was actually it was about 51% detail, 49% PDR. Now PDR still kind of I feel like takes up bigger floor space because they obviously have
The Olympics.
the Dent Olympics, which is a huge piece of real estate in the
Yeah, I'm
floor,
looking at it on the map right now. It's like
right. It's like a 20 by 60
Yeah,
or
but I'm
50
telling you, man,
years.
like give it a couple years, especially where the
So,
detailing industry and brands have grown. I see it
right.
growing.
So this year, remember, so if you guys went last year, remember so like detail was on kind of like when you walked in, detail was on the right
Right-hand
side,
side, yep.
PDR was kind of in the middle, and then you had like whatever and then like the whole left side was kind of empty. There was very few
Yeah.
things over there.
Yeah. But it was like
So
60% PDR to the left,
right,
40% detail to the
right.
right.
So this year, if you look at the map, it's still like the detail on like when you walk in on your right hand side
Yep.
and
But they got all that extra area.
but all that extra area that was empty last year is almost all detail overflow.
Yep.
And when I was talking with Wheels out at SEMA, Wheels told me they had to like rearrange that whole section because they had so many new people coming in that they had to like rearrange things to make room to fit all of the new people. So
I
like
believe it. I believe it.
that's how much bigger it's getting, and I'm excited for it. I mean, dude, it's here in my backyard. I mean, it's like 45 minutes away, so I
Okay.
drive there every morning. I drive back
Sure.
every night, sleep in my
Sure.
own bed. Everybody's like, "What hotel you staying in?" I'm like, "I'm
Man,
staying
we
in
went.
my bed.
Yeah, we went
I'm
Airbnb
comfortable."
this year, dude. We got a
Yeah,
pool. We got a hot tub. It's gonna be pretty cool. I actually
nice.
can't
Yeah, that's
wait.
what
So
that's
it's
what
gonna be a
most
cool
people
setup.
do. Yeah, most people go get
We
a
did the Gaylord last year or whatever. And don't get me
yeah,
wrong, from a convenience factor, because we had bought some samples in case we ran into some people that wanted
right.
to learn about us or whatever. We didn't want to give our stuff away in
Yeah,
suitcase or nothing, but we were respectable. We met a couple people. We had a few things in our bag, like, hey, try these things out real fast, whatever. But it was convenient to be able to be there and have to pop in, pop out.
right.
Got to use the head, something like that, or whatever. You're right there in the hotel. Which shout out to everybody I know who's staying at the Gaylord. If one of us got to run to a bathroom break, making sure we're
Yeah,
hitting you up. So thank you very much for that. You can come hang out at the pool at nighttime.
yeah. We'll blow up your toilet. You come hang out at the
Yeah,
hot
yeah,
tub.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
exactly. We'll
yeah.
buy mini the joint before we leave. You won't
Right.
even know we were
We'll
there.
leave
You
the
know
I'm
what I mean?
slow release deodorizing gel in there,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I'm
exactly,
gonna
dude.
I'm gonna make a suggestion for you guys because I think you guys would do really well with this next year. I think you guys should sign up and do a education um, on chlorine dioxide and biobombs and everything.
So
I think this.
I wanted to do education day this year, but my big goal was get set up and check
Yeah,
out education day because we didn't get a chance to check that out last year. So I
Yeah.
wasn't sure how it was structured. And I'm the type of person, Godfrey can vouch for this. I have to look over everything before I
yeah,
make a move on something.
right, right.
I
No,
almost overanalyze to the point of having to be a weakness or a fault of
yeah,
mine.
because dude, I think you guys would get plenty of people signing up. Just to get the information and learn
We'd be
about it.
giving free samples out when you sign up for our class. You'd be leaving
You
with a
could,
package.
and I mean, it's only like 45 minutes to an hour, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not even like a whole day deal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You just go in and do your time slot or whatever.
No, that'd be cool, man.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great thing for you guys
So
to do next year.
you mentioned wheels.
Yeah.
So this is something we do, and Godfrey's going to laugh right now because I literally do this every week on our own podcast. But I have to make a public apology right now.
Okay.
I know, Godfrey, you probably can't believe how
What
somehow I
happened? Where's
managed
this
to
coming
get
from?
on somebody else's podcast and make another apology, but I actually have to do it, and this is hilarious. So I'd like to apologize publicly to Wheels, right? Because the other day my team was trying to get our login information for MTE, right? I was having a bad day, dude. I was getting, a bunch of different shit thrown at me from different directions. And one of our people sent a message over to MTE to get some assistance on trying to get a login because one of our logins wasn't working or something like
Right.
that. I saw the message thread, and because I was heated, I sent a message back, which happened to go to Wheels, that was like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And do me a favor, remove us from all the damn spam lists or whatever. This is absolutely ridiculous, right? So, like, my boy calls me up. He's like, Chris, I can't believe you just freaked out like that. What are you doing? I'm like, bro, I'm tired of this shit. I'm getting 75 goddamn spam emails a day. This is bullshit. Take me off the list. I told you I was tired of this shit, because I try to manage my emails as best
Yeah.
as possible, right?
Yeah.
So, the dude Wheels emails back like, dude, I'm sorry, I'm just a sales guy, I'm trying to help you out, man. And then I sent a message back apologizing in the email like, yo, listen, dude, I had a bad day, I get tons of spam.
You felt like
He
a
was
D-bag when he responded back, didn't you? You were like, oh,
and listen, I'm
I'm
the
a
type of person
D-bag.
where it wasn't even like that. It was like, no, because I still feel like, and I'm going to say this part where I still think is necessary. When people sign up, they should be telling people, hey, listen, by the way, we can't control spammers. You're
Yeah.
going to get a shitload of emails from
Yeah.
people from now until you go to the show.
Yeah.
30 to 40 of them a day
Yeah.
at a minimal you're going to get. So if we're going to send you an email, we're going to have a special phrase in the subject matter so we know that it's coming from us.
Right.
Because it's so bad, it's
It is.
unreal, dude. And the fact that they don't say nothing to people when they sign up, I'm like, yo, that's a flaw. I'm
Yeah.
dropping a couple grand a beater or whatever. The least you could do is give me some decency. Like, yo, by the way, we just RIP'd your inbox for the next 3 months.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be an apology, sir.
I know. I'm sorry. You can tell why I'm still so
That's one of the
Wheels,
shittiest apologies I've
I
ever
know.
heard.
Wheels, I'm sorry again, dude. You guys still got to figure out a way to fix that. But I
I'm
would
gonna
like to
clip
say
that
that
and play it for Wheels at MTE. Be like, hey, did you hear what the biobomb guy said?
Yo, it's the tall dude with the weird, the gray beard. It's not
Wheels,
the
come
other
get a T-shirt from the Godfrey. Come get a T-shirt from the Godfrey.
guy.
Free T-shirt from the Godfrey.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like because I obviously get them too, because through the Aquatech, because we have our booth there, and they mass send us too. But I almost feel like it's not actually coming from MTE. I think it's just
It's not. He said, Steve
spammers.
said that. So, Steve, when we
Yeah,
talked about it, he said they fish the exhibitor list,
yeah,
and then they fish your page from there.
yeah,
And then from there, that's how you get spammed out.
yeah,
And it's crazy, but like we didn't experience that last year, right?
yeah.
Like we just got a
No.
room.
Right,
Like,
right.
it
Because
We
wasn't
were undercover last year.
well, but you guys weren't exhibitors last year. I feel like
correct.
it's just the exhibitors, because I've
Correct.
never, like all the years I've gone as an attendee, I've never, but last year being with Aquatech and having an Aquatech, email address,
Bro,
it's like,
no
holy
wonder why we
shit.
missed the login information, right?
Yeah,
Like you get
yeah,
so many.
yeah.
That's
Because
what I'm saying. Like,
you see
well,
MTE and you think it's a spam, and you're just deleting it. You're not even opening
that's
it.
my
Yeah,
point. So, like, the only thing is, it's like, hey, listen, I don't care about the spam, right? It's like, but if we're gonna send you an email that you need to read,
yeah,
it's gonna be titled this. Make
yeah,
sure you remember this is a real MTE email or whatever they have to say, where like you would know, because otherwise, like I said, I'm not lying. I get 50 a day.
yeah.
50 a day, dude.
That's nuts. I
It's
don't
been
think
like
I
that
get
since
that
we
many.
signed up.
Yeah, I don't think I
Yeah,
get that many, but
yeah.
I'm not
Listen,
exaggerating at all, dude. It's insane. Oh, you want an MTE
they're
list? You want a list
hustling
of
out
the
there, baby.
exhibitors? You want this? You want that? And it's like there's no like
yeah,
unsubscribe button. They're illegal spammers.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, the unsubscribe button doesn't work half the time anyway.
yeah. It doesn't,
Right.
because then they just send you from another
Right.
Yeah.
account or
Oh yeah,
whatever.
it's rotten.
Yeah,
But I
it's like
freaked out on Wheels. So like my Wheels, my bad. I apologize publicly as well. If I meet you in person when I'm down at the show, I will apologize to you publicly as
have
well.
you ever met Wheels in person?
No, no, no.
Okay, is it gonna make you feel even shittier that he's in a wheelchair?
Oh man! Wait, that's why he's called Wheels.
That's why it's called Wheels.
Fucking knew
You
were gonna
got to be
say
kidding
that.
me! What a
Listen,
what a
so
curb your
so
What an
so Wheels
a-hole.
Wheels is an awesome guy, but I'm gonna tell this story.
I
So
keep turning more and more into Larry
yeah,
David, dude. I
yeah.
hate it.
Oh,
I hate it so much.
total
So
Seinfeld
so the
moment.
first time I met Wheels was at
God damn
the
it.
last SDC, because that was the only SDC I went to. And I was looking for something, and I couldn't find Sheldon, because obviously he was like, all over the place. And because that was when we had a booth. We did a booth at SDC to podcast live. And so I was looking for something, I forget what it was, and they're like, oh, like, go find Wheels, he'll get it for you. And I'm like, all right. I'm like thinking like, oh, this guy must have like some cool cars or something. He's got a
Sure.
name, nickname Wheels or whatever.
Oh, Wheels is
And
Wheels.
so like I'm like, hey, where's Wheels? And they're like, oh, he's back there by the loading dock or whatever. And so like I go up and I see this dude in a wheelchair, and I'm like, and he's like, can I help you? I was like, yeah, I'm looking for Wheels. He's like, I'm right here. And I was like,
Yep.
oh.
Yep. As soon as it said, would you feel bad? I'm like, ah, damn it, he's in a wheelchair. Fuck. All right.
He's great though. Like, dude, he was saying
Oh, he was
some
totally
things.
cool when I apologized.
Yeah, he was saying some things at Rennie's party that I was like, holy shit. He was like, somebody said something about going to the bathroom, and he was like, I don't have to do that. I got a bag. And I was like, what?
Yeah, I love it.
Like, dude, he
I
was
love
he
it.
was cracking up,
That's
man.
what's up. That's what's up.
He,
What part?
he's
The Vegas joint?
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know how we didn't see you there, bro.
Dude, I was
We came toward the
super
end. That's why
yeah,
we
yeah,
came the
yeah.
We
last
came
hour.
fashionably late. There was about an
Yes.
hour left
I
when we
was
got there.
gone by then because it was cold as fuck.
Yeah, for Vegas, it was cold.
Yeah, it was
We
cold
got
in
there
the
for the last round, pretty
You're not
much.
used to that though, bro. We've been having like 7 degrees, 8-degree days the past couple of
yeah,
days.
yeah.
So
I'm not used to it. It's been like 39 to 42 the past couple of days, and I'm like dying. But no, the year
poor guy.
before when I went in 23, he had it at this other place that was like inside outside. So like you'd go outside, you freeze your ass off, you could go inside and like warm up. This year it was like all outside, right? And And so, like, we hung out for a bit, and then me and Jason from Aquatech were just like, "Dude, this is too fucking cold." So, we told Mike because Mike was still, like, hanging out, chatting with people, and we, like,
Yeah.
donated some prizes or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, Jason's like, "Dude, I wanna leave, but, like, I don't wanna I don't want Mike to feel bad or whatever." And I was like so I walked up to Mike and I was like, "Hey, Mike, me and Jason are leaving. Hold down the fort." And he's like, "Okay." And, like, he
Right,
was
right,
like
right.
he was having a blast talking to
Right.
everybody, and so, like, me and Jason dipped, and, so, yeah, that's probably why we didn't run into each other
Okay,
there because
okay,
I did dude, I think we were there maybe there, like, an hour, hour and a half or something like that,
okay,
if
okay.
that,
Yeah,
yeah.
we closed that joint down. We were like the last people rolling out of
Yeah,
there. I went
no,
over, saw what's up to Rennie. As soon as we
we
left, we were
we
literally
dipped
the last two
early, it was
people.
yeah, it was way too cold for me, and I was tired from just walking all damn day long
Oh
and
man, you can't give me that. We're gonna be down MTE. You can't be giving me I'm tired, leaving, going home thing.
No, 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 I don't usually leave MTE until, like, I don't know, like, 9:30, 10, depending
Okay,
on, like, kinda how it goes. Because
sure, sure.
yeah, because I mean, Thursday's, like, setup day, so, like, we'll be setting up our booth too, and then I've also got an afternoon meeting with the, paint correction, committee. We're
Okay,
gonna kinda meet up in the booth, and just kind of, like, last minute, like, do we need to make any,
roughing
like
it. Yeah,
yeah, fine tunes or
sure, sure,
whatever.
sure.
And then after that, hopefully I'm gonna head to the awards ceremony and finally win me a golden mic to sit right back there, that
Okay.
I got screwed out on last year because of, some people that couldn't control themselves in the industry, and I was kind of, associated with one of those individuals, so they wouldn't give me the award.
Oh, spill the
Uh,
tea. I missed it. Spill the tea.
dude, we'll talk about it afterwards.
All right, no doubt.
I'm tired about talking it on the podcast. I'll talk to you about it
Just
afterwards.
whatever.
You
But
must have
yeah,
told that
yeah.
story a million times already.
Oh, dude, it's yeah,
I don't know how
it's
we missed that shit. We were down there in the trenches last year. I don't know how we missed it.
yeah, yeah, it was, dude, it was the talk of MTE, honestly. So I don't know how you didn't hear about it.
We
Um,
were at the wrong after party. I
maybe,
wonder if it was the
maybe.
guy that told us that our air freshener bar reminded him of a toilet cake, a urinal cake. Maybe it was that guy. Was he from Minnesota?
No, Keith wasn't in there. Keith's a
No,
Maryland
no,
boy.
no, I wasn't. But no, like, I stay because like, they're doing the after part they do the awards, and then they
Yeah,
do
but it's
the
not
after
in the
party.
lobby this year, I don't think. Like, they're not doing it out in the yard. I think it got
No,
too
I don't
big. They had to
I
move it somewhere.
yeah, I don't know where Sheldon's doing it, but he's got like an '80s rock band playing. So it's
I
gonna
just hope it's
kind of
not
be
too
like a
loud, man. That's my biggest thing when
I
bands are
don't know,
playing
dude.
at those
I'm
post
I'm so
events.
disappointed. So Sheldon hit me up a while back and he's like, "Hey, do you know any like '80s bands?" And I'm like, "Hair metal or like pop?" And I'm
Yeah,
like, "Either way, I don't, but I could find out for you."
yeah.
And he's like, I'm thinking about hiring a band. He goes, I got a phone call tomorrow uh with Steel Panther. And I was like, wait, like Steel Panther? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, you know those guys? And he's like, yeah, yeah. Like I hired them for like few years back or whatever for like some motorcycle rally things that they were doing.
I'm aging
Because
myself, but tell me who Steel Panther is. We'll talk cover.
oh, dude, Steel Panther is the band that, so they're like super '80s hair metal, but they sing songs like Two in the Pink, One in the Stink,
Oh, jeez.
or
So like a
it's
Weird
like
Al Yankovic of
yeah,
like,
it's kind of a comedy, like, hair metal, but, like, the music's actually pretty good, and
okay,
then, like, you listen to the lyrics and it's like yeah, but they're like, full on, like, Poison kind of
gotcha,
look or whatever,
gotcha.
but they're awesome, but then but apparently they got too huge, and so he said, "Yeah, they cost too much now, and they want, like, a
Uh,
full-on stage and, like,
whatever.
all this stuff or whatever,"
Don't forget where
so
you came from is what I always say, man.
yeah, yeah,
'Cause you
yeah,
can real
exactly. So
fast go right
I
back
was I was
below that
disappointed
level.
because I got a little excited that Steel Panther might be playing
That's funny.
MTE, but yeah, he got somebody else. He hired some other band that's, gonna
Twisted
be playing
Sister.
some. I don't. Yeah,
No, yeah, that'd
Like
be
I said,
great.
I just hope they keep the volume levels on check. Because the problem is when you go to these events outside and people start wailing and there's a band, like you can't stand anywhere near the band if you want to have a
Yeah,
conversation, and it
yeah,
pushes everybody to the one
yeah.
side.
Well,
and
wait a second.
back.
I mean, if you're next to the band stage, can you really expect to have like optimal
No, but what I'm
sound
saying is,
comfort?
Godfrey, last year when we were in that turfed area or whatever, if you had a band playing in one section of that joint, everybody be jammed up in the back, and the
Yeah.
yard was
Yeah.
already pretty full. We're gonna have more people there this year than last
Mhm.
year. I just think that in that
I think there's
situation,
people doing a lot of after parties off site though too. It sounds like this
There
year.
is I know the big one that happens every year is the IGL one. They go down to Senior Frogs on iDrive, and they
I'll be
do
attending.
I think that is usually Friday night.
Yeah,
that
it
they do
is.
that
Yep.
one, yeah. That's kind of the only detail one that I know of.
doesn't Supreme do one too? Didn't he throw a little after party joint last year?
Yeah, he does. That's like Saturday. The Owner's Pride guys do one here at their shop.
That's a
Over
Friday
at
or
Owner's
Thursday
Pride
joint, right?
Orlando.
Thursday.
No, that's Saturday night as well.
I thought we had it on the list. I thought we looked at it. I thought it was they did one
Yeah.
Wednesday too.
No, my buddy Mike Malord, he's I guess like runs that shop or manages that shop or whatever.
Shop's a killer shop, bro. They do stupid numbers.
Yeah, so he asked me, he's like, dude, he's like, you gotta come because he invited me last year, but like I was done with MTE by Saturday. I was like, I want to go the fuck home. I don't want to go like to
And you
another.
live 45 minutes away, bro.
I
Come
know,
on,
man.
man.
I
I need more
know, but I
energy than
was
that.
done, dude. I was ready to go
I need
home.
more energy than that, dude. Ask Godfrey. We were down Vegas. They thought I was freaking nuts, man. I slept, and I mean, I don't know, man. That's just the way I am. He'll tell you I'm a psycho.
Yeah.
I don't really sleep that
Yeah.
much anyway. But I mean,
Nah.
I went 5 days
Thank
in a
God we
row.
got separate rooms this year. I'm gonna like fuck off.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, this is the first time that me and Godfrey traveled, right? So it's a little bit of a moment that makes me uncomfortable because it's not just me and him, right? It's
Right.
became like that's become my thing. He's become my handler when we travel.
Right.
Like he's like, dude, go over there, stand there. I'll meet you. You need to get TSA pre-check. You're gonna be traveling more. Start doing this the right way, but you'll be okay.
Don't wear the bomb logo through the line.
Yeah.
Because we went to SEMA. I'll tell you, yeah.
We went to SEMA and he went through TSA pre-check and he was like, yo, you go over there. Now, meanwhile, I got the BioBombs hat on, which I don't know if you guys can see it in the
Other side. Yeah.
you
There you
know,
go.
it's
Got the
like
little bomb
literally
on
a
there.
Earth with a
Yeah.
little bomb guy on it or whatever.
Yeah.
I had
And the
the hoodie.
BioBomb sweatshirt.
I had the hoodie on as well that says like
same one you're wearing now.
no, it's a get the funk out on the back, real big
Okay.
with like the bomb and this thing or
Awesome.
whatever. Now, on top of that, we're traveling only for a couple days or whatever. So we had a bag that we checked as well. Well, inside that one, we had to jam everything from SEMA that we were like going to give away and shit like that or
Yeah.
whatever. So I had like bricks literally wrapped up of plastic of the air
Not with
freshener
no
bars.
foil on it.
Not
Right,
like
right.
this, like the foil pouches, right?
The
But like,
granola
I had
bar.
I had sample packs for the holiday bars that I got that I didn't get pressed into things yet. So I had them wrapped up in saran wrap like a brick. And we
Yeah.
went through
These things like times like
a
20
chunk, dude, like literally
with rubber
like
bands
cocaine
around
Yeah,
it.
or
yeah.
drugs or something.
They're probably like
I'm
cocaine alert.
going
Cocaine
through,
alert.
I'm going through security. I'm like, I know they're going to open the bag up. There's not a doubt in my mind. Like, I got this weird ass gear on, and on top of
Right.
that, they're scanning my bag, and they see bricks of what they
Yeah.
think is like, oh shit, go get supervisor. We're about to catch
best-
break
I
right
kind of
now.
blame myself.
The best smelling heroin we've
I
ever.
kind of blame
I get
myself.
through the TSA, you know what I mean? It's not gay if it's TSA or whatever.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
get through all that stuff or whatever. And next thing you know, I go stand in line. The guy's like, I'm like, he's like, I gotta open this up, right? I'm like, I know, man. I'm just telling you, they're air freshener bars. We're going to a show or whatever. Opens it up, flips it open. They smell them. They all got a kick out of it. Zipped me back up and left.
Yeah, I
But like,
felt
I knew
bad.
we were gonna get popped. I
'Cause
mean,
listen, so that morning was a little stressful because I was supposed to pick Christian up, and I should have denied him these logistics, but it made more sense to meet me at my place. But I was gonna go get him. Well,
Right.
there's the part of Philly I live in. You either go up the High 176, which is out of the way, or you go up Ridge Ave. Well, Ridge Ave was shut down in both directions. I don't know what happened, and it should be a 25-minute drive. It was a 2-hour drive.
so I'm gonna
to get to his
interject,
house.
right? So typically, Godfrey's a whack job. He stays up till like 2, 3 o'clock every night. Total night owl, right? Total night owl. I mean, he's answering BioBomb stuff and go jumping on lives at like 1 o'clock in the morning.
You got to talk to the West
answering
Coast people, you know?
chats, coming in through on the website. 12 o'clock at night, he's answering chats for people. Now, granted, it's 9 o'clock for people on the West Coast. I love that he does it or whatever. I'm not talking junk, but he's like a night owl, right? So, like, the dude doesn't get up at normal times. So, like, I'm like, yo, Godfrey. He's like, dude, I've never seen this before in my life. There's traffic on Rich Pike all over the place. There's an accident. I'm like, that's because you don't wake up at a normal hour when people are on the road.
Well, it was like
traffic
8.
usually happens. You know what I
It
mean?
was bad, but this is funny.
Dude, I'm like, yo, I'm telling you, so he gets to my house all panicked up. We barely got room in his car for anything. He had to take a spare tire out of his trunk because he didn't do that the night before or whatever. I mean, it was an absolute shit show.
Well, he threw the extra suitcase on me. I didn't know we were gonna have. So
we're driving down,
like,
right? And we're like 15 minutes on the trip, and we're talking to each other. And he's like, dude, if I gotta get another flight and just drop you at the gate, I will. Like, we'll figure it out. My bad. I'm like, dude, it's cool. I'm just happy we're on our way, whatever. All of a sudden, we both get a text message like, your flight's been delayed 1 hour. We're like, whoa, Jesus is in the car today, boy. You know what I mean?
It was a relief. I've dealt with those stressful situations. We'd have made it by the hair of our chinny chin. But going through security, back to that, I thought to myself, because all that was going on, I was like, we were just here, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, we should have probably dressed differently. And then I'm thinking about the bag he's taken on the plane, and I'm like, oh man, Jesus, this is gonna be a pain in the ass. So I got through. They opened my bag, and I thought they were gonna care about all the BioFresh bars and all that. There was a screwdriver about that big. They're like, okay, it's under regulation. I'm like, weird. So I'm like, looking, I was like, where's Christian at? Like, for a good 25 minutes. I'm like, oh. And then I'm like, oh, now it makes sense. Because when they saw my bag, I was like, oh, this is Bevy Grape. Would you like one? And she's like, haha. Because mine were wrapped in packaging, right? It was just a big plastic bar. It could have been a brick of Coke. So I'm like, these guys, I'm like, yeah, you know what? Next time we traveled, I made sure to go through with regular non-branded BioBomb stuff.
Mark my words, when I fly on Tuesday morning, I'll be 100% branded up in BioBombs. I'm not switching up. They're going to get used to me traveling more through Philadelphia, and it's going to become a regular normal thing.
I'll put on a hoodie and put the hat in the bag, and then undisguise after I get through TSA, because they're probably like,
you just need to tell them, like, look, man, I'm gonna defunct the plane so not everybody's smelling feet and ass and babies.
Yo, speaking of, man, we got a couple people nowadays that are taking us into the aviation area, which is going to be a really, really cool thing for us. That's going to be it's going to be awesome. So super excited about that stuff. Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Well, listen, I know you guys probably got to dip out of here in a few minutes.
We got a couple minutes still.
Before we kind of let you guys get out of here, just want to ask maybe if anybody wants to reach out to you guys and maybe try this. You guys got a coupon code or something that you can give out for the listeners?
Yeah, absolutely. We could do we're going to do a code for everybody. If you're listening to the pod and you want to join the BioBombs Funkalution, you could use code DSP10. That'll get you 10% off your order, which will hopefully get back a little bit. And then to anybody out there who's listening, if you guys are a mobile detailer and you're interested in getting our products, we have
non-mobile.
We have a business program as well that we use for a lot of our mobile detail guys and details shops. So you can reach out to us at info@biobombs.com. We can talk to you a little bit more about that program as well.
Perfect. And if they're not following you on social media, where you guys at? You got
you can at BioBombs just about anything you want, and you'll find us.
Yeah, you can find me under
YouTube,
the Godfrey,
Instagram, Facebook, TikTok,
OnlyFans.
If you think my beard's better looking than Christian's, if you think my beard's better than Christian's, just email me at Godfrey@BioBombs. I'll hook you up.
He's always got to bring the beef at the end of the pod. We do so well all the way to the end of the pod, and then all of a sudden, it's shots fired.
I don't know. I think you lost it back when you were talking about yelling. Your fake apology to Wheels when it started out as an apology and turned into
it's still very genuine. Like, I don't mean to yell at Wheels, but I do mean to yell at the organization. Like, you guys should give people a heads up that their inbox has been murdered once they decide to give you money for the show.
That was classic when you found out he was in a wheelchair after you knew.
I'm sure. Guaranteed. We're like, oh yeah, let's get a copy of this video. Let's make sure we turn this into a reel. Let's expose Chris for being a handicap hater, anti-handicap. Let's cross him off. He's anti-wheelchair. Like, I'm sure.
I
just
can
gotta
tell
make
he has
sure-
a sense of humor if his nickname is Wheels, though. And like,
Listen, me and Wheels got
Just-
to clap it up. I want to get him a hot dog or something, hang
Right.
out. I'll pass him an air freshener bar. Make sure we clap it up. I want to make sure everybody understands.
I
Wheels
think
and me are going to be
I think
cool.
the thumbnail for the YouTube on this will be Chris Parks and handicap spots. You know,
Oh, dude! All of a sudden, like, all you gonna be like, up and coming company attacks guy in wheelchair. You know what I mean? And it's like, boom! All of a sudden, we got thousands of views on the pod.
Right,
Everyone's tuned in. Like, who's
dude,
this?
that's a
JL?
Larry, but that's a Larry David thing to do. You know, like
uses only handicap stall on whole convention.
all right, before I let you guys fully get out of here, booth number for MTE, so people don't necessarily just have to wander, or you know, because I know some people like to wander and some people like
209, right?
I'm looking at it right now. It
209,
is
210. We're sitting right next to
920.
Nah, jeez.
210, 920.
I got dyslexia or whatever they call it.
Yeah, but then we're still wasn't even the right numbers.
It
Like
was close. I mean, 10 to 20, you're near there.
you had a 9 in both of
920.
them. That's about it.
All right. Well, listen, that was a great podcast, everybody. Chris
Yeah.
is about at his max amount of time. I told Godfrey all the time, anytime we go after 1 hour, it just starts, we're losing the civility of the pod, and it starts
Yeah,
to turn a little bit more
that's what
crazy.
makes it the best. That's why I don't like putting time limits really on these
for
anymore,
sure.
because you get all that information.
You
in the
bust
first
people
hours.
open after an hour.
Yeah,
Dude.
you get lead them in with the information
Right,
for the
right.
first hour, get them comfortable,
Right.
and then
Just
and then
body
from there
shots,
it's and then it's just you know, free for all shenanigans for the last
Absolutely.
whatever.
Yeah,
So
eventually you're gonna have to tell us about this. It sounds like this epic Mike story, Golden Mike story.
yeah,
We'll catch up with you on that one for sure,
Yeah.
dude. Obviously, we really look forward to meeting you at
yeah,
MTV.
absolutely, man. I want to swing by the booth. I know I'm
Yeah,
gonna
man.
be,
We got a
you know,
picture
I'm gonna
wall, clap it up with us.
I'm gonna be in and out of the Aquatech booth because I'll be from there.
Is Jen gonna be there with you guys this year?
No, she's not with us anymore.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, she's went to Tech Shine Industrial. They do industrial coatings and cleaners or something like that. So,
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah,
more power to her. I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy for it. It was something that she kind of needed. Sounds like. Seems like she's kicking off pretty good over there.
That's
So
what's up.
wish her all the best. Unfortunately, she's not going to be at MTE now, so she won't be with us.
Gotcha.
She won't be there. But yeah, I'm gonna be. I got to do some like post interview type stuff with the paint correction competition. So when people get done doing their thing, I'm gonna do a quick little post interview with them. So I'm gonna be
Come by, clap it up.
Yeah,
dude.
I
Do a little quick little
definitely will, because
video, shoot it up
I want
on
to take a
Instagram.
look at some of the other stuff you guys got, because I mean, even though my buddy's like right next door to me with Simon Eyes and it's easy to grab stuff from him, sometimes he has it, sometimes he doesn't. So I want to know, like a more,
Listen,
solid
we
knockdown
respect
information
friendships. We
with it.
respect
So,
prior relationships. By
yeah.
no means are we trying to step on feet
Nah,
or whatever. But
listen,
dude, I definitely want to send you home with some stuff. You deserve, at least for giving us an opportunity and a
Yeah,
platform
no, I
to speak
appreciate that.
today. I want
Yeah.
to give you some stuff before you leave. Obviously, say thank you. Let you get a chance to
Yeah,
try
no, I
our stuff
appreciate
out
that.
firsthand.
I'll tell you what, if you guys got any extras, bring me one of those hats. I don't wear hats, but I got a little hat collection. I don't know if you can see it over there. I got a little hat collection. Oh yeah, there we go. I moved the computer, so now my camera goes off.
So
I
you're
got
not a hat guy?
a little hat clips. I'm not a hat guy, but I like to have hats of like different brands. So I mean, like I've got my Rubez hat, I've got my KXK hat, I've got my Aquatech hat, I've got the Detail Solutions podcast hat, I've got an Enzo hat. I got a couple other ones. I think I got like a Detail Bookie hat up there, some other stuff. Hats are kind of cool. Like I'll wear them periodically, but I'm not like an all the time hat guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys got a hat, I'd love to grab a hat from you. And
Yeah, man, we might be able to mark that out. We got a bunch of them we're gonna have down there.
Yeah.
We got hats, we got shirts, we got a bunch of stuff we're gonna be selling promo item wise or whatever. We have a bunch of other products down
We
there.
got
So
speedos. We're doing speedos too. If you're in, I'm just joking there.
mankinis, we got Biobombs
Yeah, maybe
mankinis.
I need to lose a few more lbs before I can get into this.
You ain't lying. Me too.
You should see Godfrey in the mankini. It's the best.
I won't do that to myself.
Wait till we get to
I'll put
MTV.
your word on it. So
Yeah, well, I won't. If that happens, I won't be getting a golden mic either. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
No, not at all.
did a wrong talking to MTE.
Golden butt cheeks.
Yeah.
yeah, listen. All right, guys, listen. Have a safe trip down here, man. I'm excited
Totally,
to meet
brother.
you guys.
Absolutely.
I
Can't wait
appreciate
to
you.
shake
I
hands,
appreciate you
man.
guys for doing this, especially like with the crunch of MT and everything.
Absolutely, it's
So
been fun. Listen, we'll do it again, right?
oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
obviously, a little bit
Absolutely.
chaotic getting us
Awesome.
together this week, kind of a last minute pull or whatever. It worked out
Yeah.
good for us. I'm super excited to get down there. Got a little bit of the heebie-jeebies, but dude, we appreciate the opportunity and the platform. It's been
Yeah.
great talking and chatting. I wish we had a
Awesome.
little bit more time to cut it up, but Godfrey got me doing work
It's
outside of work
good. We
on a you
yeah.
know on a night. So
We did about an hour and a half. That's pretty good. So
yeah, I'm
yeah.
solid with it. I'm solid with it.
Yep.
All right, guys. You have a great night.
All right, brother.
Take
Do
care.
the same.
We'll see you soon, man.
Yes, sir.
All right.
See
Stay
ya.
fresh, everybody.
You too.